Behind every royal headline, there's a hidden truth. The world is watching the crown once again. This is Golden Crown Insider, where royal secrets become headlines. Today, we are telling the story that royal watchers have been quietly discussing for months, but that only this week has broken fully into the open. A story about two people who chose each other over everything, who gave up palaces and titles and family and country for a life they said would be better, freer, more real. And who are now, according to sources, royal editors, and people close to both of them, in the most difficult chapter of their entire relationship. Harry and Meghan are not okay. And the cracks that have been forming quietly for years are no longer quiet. Subscribe right now if you are new here. Hit that bell, because this story broke just days ago and Golden Crown Insider is taking you inside every detail of it. Let's start with the headline that stopped the royal world just 2 days ago. Published by Woman and Home, written by royal editor Emily Andrews, one of the most respected and connected journalists covering the Sussex story. The headline was blunt and unsparing. Meghan is spiraling. Harry wants to move to the mountains of Montana. And Hollywood is turning its back. 3 sentences, each one landing like a separate blow. Yahoo's spiraling. That word. Not struggling. Not facing challenges. Spiraling. That is the language of something accelerating downward. Something moving faster than the person inside it can manage. And from a journalist of Emily Andrews' standing, a journalist who does not use dramatic language without cause, that word is not chosen lightly. Let's take each thread separately, because each one tells a different part of the same story. First, Meghan. Sources close to the Sussex household described Meghan as increasingly overwhelmed. The As Ever brand is under commercial pressure. The Netflix partnership that was supposed to be the foundation of their Hollywood reinvention has been restructured. The Met Gala invitation never came. The Australia tour, which was supposed to open new markets and generate fresh momentum, has produced results that are the opposite of what was hoped. Yahoo data collected by Newsweek using the digital intelligence platform SimilarWeb showed that website traffic for As Ever dropped both globally and in Australia in April, the same month Harry and Meghan embarked on their 4-day tour of Sydney and Melbourne. The tour that was supposed to boost the brand actually coincided with a drop in traffic. And Harry suffered his own separate setback when Australia's federal government cut 9 million Australian dollars, approximately $6.5 million US, in funding commitment to Invictus Australia, the local charitable arm of his Invictus Games tournament for injured veterans. Hello. Read that again. They traveled to Australia specifically to build something. And both of their primary projects, Meghan's brand and Harry's charity, came back from that trip in worse shape than when they left. That is not a bad week. That is a pattern. And a pattern that has been building across every major initiative the Sussexes have launched since arriving in California. The Spotify deal gone. The Netflix partnership at full scale restructured. The Australia tour backfired. The Met Gala no invitation. The As Ever brand 137,000 unsold units sitting in a warehouse. The With Love Meghan show canceled after 2 seasons. The speaking tour in Australia, mixed reviews and government funding cuts to Invictus in the same week. And now, the person at the center of all of it is being described by sources close to the situation as spiraling. Now let's talk about Harry. Because his situation, his internal situation, the one that the cameras never fully capture, has taken a turn that nobody predicted. Sources say Harry is increasingly unhappy in Montecito. He misses nature. He misses space. He misses the kind of physical, outdoor life that he built during his military years and that California, for all its beauty, does not give him. And he has been talking about Montana, specifically about the mountains of Montana, about a quieter life, a simpler one, further from Hollywood, further from the brand cycle, further from the relentless machinery of the celebrity world that Meghan's career requires. Yahoo Montana, the mountains. That is not a small thing. That is a man describing a completely different life from the one he is currently living. A life that looks less like a California lifestyle brand and more like the kind of quiet, private, outdoors existence that Harry has always said he wanted when the cameras are not rolling. And here is where the tension becomes visible. Because Meghan's career requires Montecito. It requires proximity to Hollywood, to the networks, to the studios. to the world that produces the deals and the partnerships and the appearances that keep the Sussex brand alive and financially viable. Harry wants Montana. Meghan needs Montecito. Those two sentences represent a gap that is not easily bridged. And sources this week described it plainly. They want different things right now. And the distance between what they each want is wider than it has ever been. Now let's zoom out. Because to understand why this week's story lands with the weight that it does, you need to understand the full arc of what Harry and Meghan have been through since they announced their departure from royal life in January 2020. When they left, the narrative was clear. They were escaping. Escaping the press. Escaping the palace. Escaping the institution that had, in their telling, failed them. They were choosing freedom. Choosing each other. Choosing a life built on their own terms. And in those early years, the energy was electric. The Oprah interview, the Netflix deal, the Spotify deal, the book, the documentary. Every move they made generated headlines. Every headline generated interest. Every piece of interest generated commercial value. But commercial value built on a story of escape has a fundamental limitation. The story of escape only works while you are still escaping. Once you have arrived, once the palace is behind you and the California sun is above you and the deals are signed and the house is bought, what is the story then? That question is what the last 2 years have been slowly, painfully answering. Newsweek's chief royal correspondent noted that the Australia trip failure was particularly significant because it represented the Sussexes attempting to break into new markets, to build an audience beyond the core Sussex fanbase that had been following them since the Oprah interview. That attempt, at least in the short term, appears to have failed. The brand traffic dropped. The government funding was cut. And the couple returned to Montecito with less momentum than when they left. Hello. Less momentum than when they left. That sentence applied to a couple who staked everything on the idea that leaving was the beginning of something better. And then there's the wedding. The one that happened without Harry. Peter Phillips and Harriet Spurling. June 6, 2026. A church in the Cotswolds. William and Kate attending. Charles and Camilla attending. The family gathering in exactly the kind of intimate, warm, genuine moment that Harry has said he wants Archie and Lilibet to be part of. And Harry sitting in California, not invited. Harry told the BBC in May 2025 that he would love reconciliation with his family. That there was no point continuing to fight anymore. That he was ready to move forward. Hello. Ready to move forward. And yet, excluded from a cousin's wedding. Watching from 6,000 miles away, as the family, he said he wanted to reconnect with gathered without him. Now, and this is the moment that this story demands honesty, let's talk about what is actually happening here. Because there are two narratives running simultaneously. And both of them are true. The first narrative is the one that Harry and Meghan have built. That they left a toxic institution. That they protected their family. That they chose love and freedom and authenticity over duty and protocol and an institution that failed them. That narrative is real. The pain that drove them out was real. The racism allegations were real. The mental health struggles were real. The feeling of being unsupported, that was real. The second narrative is the one that 2026 is writing in real time. That the dream they ran toward has not fully materialized. That Hollywood did not embrace them the way they expected. That the commercial foundations they built are under serious pressure. That the relationship is showing stress lines that sources are now describing publicly. That Harry is talking about Montana. That Meghan is described as spiraling. That the family they left, the one they said was toxic, is gathering in Cotswolds, churches, and Balmoral estates without them while their children grow up not knowing their grandfather. Both narratives are true, simultaneously. And the tragedy of the Sussex story is that they cannot be separated. The courage of the choice they made and the cost of that choice exist in the same breath. Harry and Meghan celebrated their 8th wedding anniversary on May 19, 2026. Meghan shared photographs from their wedding album on Instagram. Their children Archie and Lilibet had prepared sentimental gifts for them. The caption was warm. The photographs were beautiful. Woman and home 8 years. 2 children. A life built from scratch on the other side of the world from everything Harry had ever known. There is something genuinely moving about that, about 2 people who chose each other so completely that they were willing to pay whatever the cost turned out to be. But the cost in 2026 is becoming visible in ways that even the most carefully managed Instagram post cannot fully conceal. A brand under pressure, a charity losing government funding, a man who wants mountains and a woman who needs Hollywood, a family wedding happening without them, a grandfather fighting cancer in England while the grandchildren are in California, and sources, trusted, connected, credible sources, using the word spiraling. The question that nobody in Montecito wants to answer publicly, but that everyone watching the story is asking quietly, is a simple one. Was the dream worth the cost? And the answer, if it comes at all, will not come from an interview, or a documentary, or an Instagram caption, or a brand launch. It will come from what happens next. From whether Harry goes to Montana or stays in California. From whether Meghan finds a way to build something that works on its own terms. From whether the Balmoral visit happens this summer and what it produces. From whether the reconciliation Harry said he wanted in May 2025 is still something he is actively pursuing in the summer of 2026. The dream they chose was real. The love that drove it was real. And the difficulty they are navigating right now is just as real as all of it. That is the hidden truth today. 8 years in. And the hardest chapter is the one they are living right now. If this video opened your eyes, give it a thumbs up right now. Share it with someone following the story. And if you are not yet subscribed to Golden Crown Insider, do it now. Every single day, we bring you the truth behind the royal headlines. The ones that reveal what this family is truly carrying beneath the crown. This is Golden Crown Insider. And we will see you in the next one.